Hey everyone, my name is Carlos, and today I'm going to be talking about sports nutrition, especially when it comes to road cycling. So I've been biking now for a little bit over 2 years, I want to say. I've done 2 life cycles and 1 center ride out. And if you don't know what an AIDS life cycle is, it's essentially a fundraiser benefiting the Los Angeles LGBT Center and the San Francisco AIDS Foundation that ran from like 1993 through 2025. It was a 7-day ride from San Francisco down to LA. And then the center ride out, the inaugural one just happened. We went from LA down to San Diego. In training for that, I would have to do, some obscene miles, especially for AIDS life cycle. I would have 60, 70 mile days, or really weekends mostly, but I would always be out on my bike, just riding, and I'd be out for the whole day. I'm not the quickest rider, in terms of the whole FTP curve. I'm a little bit, the slow side of it. Definitely not peak curve, and definitely not on the faster side of that bell curve. But I've learned a lot of things about sports nutrition in doing those rides. Namely, you always want to be eating, but what you eat really matters. There's a lot of videos online that kind of talk about what you should be having, what you should not be having, and really there's a lot more qualified people that can speak about sports nutrition and talk to it. And I'm really just going to be sharing what really works for me and the different things that I've tried out. I think like everybody, I've done gummy worms. I only did that I think like once, and I have like 1 picture of me with gummy worms, and I have like a ginormous bag. That's awesome, except sometimes they might melt if it's really hot, and I live in Southern California, so that's a very real possibility. So I've done gummy worms, right? I've done Cliff Bars, which I absolutely despise. For the longest time, I did Pop-Tarts. So I was known as the guy on the group ride that would just have like packs upon packs of Pop-Tarts, and I would go to Costco or really Sam's, and I would just get like a big old box of Pop-Tarts, and I would just chow on them during my rides. And look, if you want to be eating Pop-Tarts for like 6 hours straight, awesome. But if you have any any kids, or if you want to enjoy Pop-Tarts on your own time, like don't do it. To this day I cannot eat a Pop-Tart without just like it, I can't explain it. But I've done Pop-Tarts. I've done like most recently I actually did a whole 110 miles on Nerds gummy clusters. Somebody put me onto them during AIDS Life Cycle 2025, so shout out Max. These things go crazy. I literally just put them in a Ziploc bag into my top tube bag, and as I'm riding, I just open it. I make sure that the Ziploc bag is open, and I just pick at it every now and then. If you have like any sort, I've done Twizzlers, right? There's like little Twizzlers you could do. There's Skittles, and those are a little bit more nice or Nerds are nice, right? But with like Skittles and whatnot, as the day kind of goes on, your bag will warm up and they'll get like a little bit softer to chew. So like that's nice. Don't be afraid of literally just having candy. It's a lot cheaper than getting like a Cliff Block or like an energy gel, because energy gels are like $2. They say you should be taking like 2 every hour. They have like 25 grams of carbohydrates, which if you take 2 in an hour, that's 50. I like to have like 60 grams of carbs per hour. So I'd be needing to have like a little bit more than 2 per hour. Now where I'm going with this is that if you buy the cycling specific things, it will add up and it will get expensive, because then for every hour that you're out over there, you're gonna be spending like $4. I spent $4 for like this, or maybe I might have spent like $8. But literally when I did that 110 miles, I had maybe like half of one of these bags or something. I had like 10 servings. I think it was actually like 300 grams. And this is a 17 serving bag. Like, I had a little bit over half of it, and I was fine. Maybe this bag was like $8, right? Was I a little bit bloated afterward? Yeah, but who cares? I did 110 miles. It was fun. I did like 87 miles on Skittles and Twizzlers. That was cool, and a lot of oranges because they had those at the rest stops. So that was nice. So you could definitely get by on candy. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. You can definitely get by on candy. Do look at the carbohydrates that are in them. Make sure that you're eating enough. Try to do some of the math yourself. I wasn't like super specific in how many I was eating while I was riding my bike. I was just, every once in a while, whenever I would remember, I would just, shove some on, or I'd get to a red light, I'd have like, 2 or 3, things of candy. Do be careful. You don't want to be eating, things that are sour that might like hurt your tongue. I was definitely getting a little bit of that with the Nerds Gummy Cluster just by the end of the century. But I was out over there. I was going pretty quick the whole time. Like, I felt great at the end of the century. I didn't feel tired. I didn't feel, like I wanted to take a nap. Was I hungry? Yes, but that was like after I showered, right? Like I finished strong. I was fine. I wasn't at risk of bonking. So candy is a perfectly good and fine thing that you can take. That's my dog. So that's candy, right? There's, Cliff Blocks, gels. Those are good. Have them look at, have your Cliff Gel, have your blocks. Just know that's going to be more expensive. But do make sure that you're hitting some target amount. If you're eating, a sleeve of Cliff Blocks, you should be eating one of those per hour. I think there's like 2 servings within them. Don't undereat, I think is what I'm trying to get at. For me, my target, like I said, is 60 grams per hour. Some people, they want to do like 80, 120, 100. I haven't tried that. I feel pretty strong at, 60 grams per hour. There are some, powders you could buy, like Formula 369. There's also Tailwind. I think I saw somebody with those. Some people would just do like straight up sugar. Quite honestly, whatever you want to do, if you want to do like one of these are actually really good. Personally, my rides are a little bit on the longer side, so I need to have like a little bit extra. So Tailwind has like these little sachets that you can get. You just tear it, you pour it in your water bottle, and you're good to go. But for me, that's more on like a shorter ride. Like if I'm gonna be doing 20 something miles and there's climbs on there, I'll break out my 2 water bottles. I'll put 2 servings into 1 water bottle, 1 serving into the second, and that's enough to carry me for like the hour and a half. And I'll stop at a cafe, I'll get some coffee, get a pastry, and I'll be fine. And I'll feel strong. But these can be like, they can add up. I feel like Formula 369 is a good one. If you want to try it out, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but they're like entry level. They're like, their starter kit comes with like a water bottle, comes with electrolytes, comes with carbs. Like it's a good deal for what you're getting. So try that out, see if you like it. And if you don't want to try that, Nerds Gummy Clusters, that'll get you by. It's tested, it's good. And candy in general. Now, one that you might not like, but you should probably try, is maple syrup. I did a lot of training this season with maple syrup, and quite honestly, I love the taste of maple syrup. Like, I did not get tired of it at all. If you want to try it, I highly recommend maple syrup. You could literally stop at like Target and just get like 1 big jug of it. They sell it at Sam's Club too for like $11. It's like organic. So if you care about that, go get it at Sam's Club. Um, I literally had maybe like 3 jugs of that just laying around in random places in my house, just waiting to be opened. So that's a good one. I actually have one over my fridge. The only thing is you do have to get, some sort of container to put it in. At REI, I actually got some like refillable ones. The company I think is called like Go or like GoGo or something. It's not this, but it looks essentially like one of these little travel size containers of stuff. Um, so the ones I got, they're like a little bit smaller. It's like one serving, I would say, will fit in there. And like maple syrup does the job. You just got to make sure that you have a container that works with you. The one downside is that it does get kind of bulky if you're going to be out for a long time. Because it's not like a gel where you chuck it down and then you're just left with the wrapper. If you're going to be going out, right, and you're going to have some sort of container, even if it's like half of the size, that container doesn't collapse really, and it also has like the lid. So if you're going to go out for a long ride, you're not really going to be bulking down as you're kind of going through. Now a top tube bag is really helpful. When it comes to that, but not all people want to have a top tube bag with them, which I totally understand. But on long rides, I'll just carry it, right? Put my snacks in there, and then my jersey pockets. That's where I'll put all my layers. So like wooden vest, arm warmers, neck gaiter, blah blah blah, whatever. So that's really it, I think, for what I've tried, and maybe what I would highly recommend is just nerds. They're great for long rides. Then the other tricky part is really going to be like your electrolytes. I've had some dog water electrolytes. Like I've gone to like GMC and I've had some, and they just taste like the most artificial thing that you're ever that you'll ever have. Like it's beyond terrible. Some of the things that you'll get. There are some really, really, really good brands out there. My favorite is Element. You can get them at like Target, and usually I carry these in my top tube bag for like a long day where I know that I'll need to like re-up on my electrolytes at some point. They're good for that. They are kind of expensive, but I think in general most electrolytes are kind of pricey, especially like when you get them single serve. I'm a huge, huge, huge salty sweater. Like I will finish my rides, and even on a cold day, I'll have salt all over me. And you can't see it, but can't see her. But my dog, she's down over there, so I'm just moving things out of her way. But I'm a big salty sweater, and the way that I found that out is because I did like a 50-mile ride with a bike shop, a local bike shop, and it was a heat wave. It was 105 degrees, and I was just basically having Noon tablets. And Noon tablets, they don't work for me. If you're a runner, maybe they'll work for you. If you live in a place where it doesn't get to 105 degrees, they might work for you. And they did work for me. And then that day, I realized, oh, I'm a salty guy. And I got the symptoms of dehydration. I was throwing up after the ride, and even during the ride, I was feeling like the glare of like glass just bothering me. And then that's when I realized, oh, that's a symptom of dehydration, like afterward, right? But I'd been feeling that before, and it made me realize that I needed something that was a little bit stronger. Now, what I ended up switching to was Element. They had sent some of these out to the group that I ride with. And I pretty much got like a whole season's worth of them for free. So these really work well for me. I have tried Liquid IV. Some of their flavors suck. And for the most part, like I kind of avoid them. And the reason I avoid them is because I would essentially have to take 2 of these for it to equal 1 thingy majiggy of Element. This has a lot more sodium, and for me, it really works better. Liquid IV has like 500 milligrams of sodium, or like half a gram. And for me, like I know that I need to double up on it. So I generally avoid these. For you, they might work. Experiment. Try different brands, see how much salt you need. Figure out what, more importantly, like what your body needs. Listen to your body, especially on these. But yeah, so usually I'll gravitate for some of these for my longer days. I'll start off with, some other different type of powder in my water bottles, but these, whenever I need a re-up, whenever I find a drinking fountain and my bottles are empty, I'll pour one of these into my bottle as needed. And actually, in my top tube bag, I have another one of them. So those are like, some of the ones that you can carry while you're out on your bike on a longer ride. Before your ride, I've actually used these. So Reddit really recommended Scratch, and Scratch is awesome. They taste great. I really have no complaints on them, except that they are maybe like a little bit pricey. A bag comes with like 20 servings, and it has like 400 milligrams of salt. So I put 2 scoops of this into my water bottle. I drink that in like an hour. Second water bottle is just regular water. And third water bottle is salt. Fourth is regular water, as I see fit. And that's like as I'm refilling, right? These are awesome, can add up, but you can find these at like REI, you can find these locally. So, if you're looking for something that you can take on your rides, whenever you're going out for an hour or 2 hours, like these are good. But the other one that I'm actually thinking of switching to is Formula 369. It has like a little bit more salt, like 500 milligrams, and it has like 50 servings in this thing. It really doesn't have like that much flavoring in it, I would say. It's mainly salt and like the actual ingredients that you need. So this like small thing has 50 servings versus this big bag that actually has 20. Now this one does have like some sugar in it, some carbs, and this one doesn't. Like at the end of the day, like you're still gonna be eating like your sports nutrition, so it doesn't matter whether it has carbs or not. For me, I just want the salt that comes with it, because I know even on like a colder day, on a cooler day or like a normal day, like it was 75 degrees today when I started biking. I came home, I had salt cake on my face, and it wasn't even hot. Like it was fine. So those are like, some of the things that I've learned with electrolytes, right? Mainly listen to your body, get something like Scratch or Formula 369. You cannot go wrong with those. On longer days, take some sachets. Element is a good one. Liquid IV is fine. The one that I actually didn't mention, Gatorade makes some as well. I don't think I have any, but for Center Ride Out, they were giving us like some little sticks of Gatorade. They did the job. They were fine. I think there were like 500 milligrams of salt in there. So I might have doubled up on them sometimes, but they were okay. Those were okay. Cool. Well, if you felt that this video helped you at least get some sort of idea on what you should be eating and drinking while you're on the ride, feel free to, drop a like, maybe subscribe. If you do something particularly interesting with your, cycling nutrition, or you have some sort of tip you think can help others, drop a comment. If you think I'm wrong about something, drop a comment. If you absolutely despise maple syrup, drop a comment. Or if you think my dog is really beautiful, drop a comment. She'll be happy. Do it for Momo. Do it for Momo.